Welcome back, everyone, to Kickstory on a special episode. We're here in beautiful Tucson, Arizona, on location with my man Slobby Robby, the one and only.
Slobby was good.
Oh, we're back here in the swamp, in the studio, on a beautiful today, 70 degrees.
Hell yeah.
70 degrees.
Jealous people right out there, right? With the
jealous people out there. That's an understatement, Bobby.
I mean, right now the weather's kind of wacky everywhere else, but thank you again, man. Thank you again for this.
We're happy to be here, man. We're all lucky to be here.
And you know what? And just your store, Generation Cool, man. I mean, I know we just celebrated a 10-year anniversary. Right. I mean, your store is just an amazing store, man.
Congratulations. Congratulations.
I feel blessed to have this space, my office, my art studio, all right here, right behind the store, and be close to my home and my kids' school.
Oh, yeah.
You're welcome to my house, basically. You know what I mean?
So we're here on 4th Avenue, which is a popular avenue with all these great shops. Of course, your shop is here, Generation Cool. So if you're in Tucson, Arizona, come visit his shop.
Check it out.
Badass vintage gear.
Dope store.
Me and you connected because of that love of vintage gear.
I made hundreds of friends through the shop.
Exactly right. So that's how I know you, and thank you again for keeping that connection tight. So, but yeah, man, let's dive into the Kickstory, right?
Listen. You got some heat, and I've seen you on the gram. I've seen you just out and about, and you always just have those. You have your fits, but you just have that little feet check, right? So we love to talk about our first love, like what sneaker connect to us, to our heart, right? What you got in store for us today, man? What's your first love?
Well, I mean, first and foremost, heat is a very sort of relative thing, right? And what most people, I don't know. I think that guys like you guys have a lot of the same tastes as me. I'm a little more of a purist, not a 100% purist, but at the same time, I brought stuff like the kind of stuff you're probably referring to in my outfits and in my pics, stuff you don't see every day. Stuff that hasn't, I don't know, ever been part of hype culture.
Sure.
I guess that's my preference. And also stuff I wore and stuff I had when I was a kid. Okay.
Hell yeah.
So those are the little boxes we're checking there. And I don't collect or wear these things as anti-hype. I'm just wear the stuff, frankly, that I grew up with or something that I always wanted when I was a kid.
Exactly right. Yeah.
And then now also super weird fashion-y stuff.
Yeah.
But when it comes to sneakers,
yeah,
I'm a Nike man.
Nike, okay.
We got Just Do It right behind my head.
Know what?
Anyway, I brought some stuff.
And you know what? Me and Bobby Kicks, we don't want to make this podcast a Nike podcast, right?
That's true,
But I got to put a comma. But just the swoosh brand, it connects to us. It's super relevant,
Hey, I could do another show on all my non-Nike stuff. I like art stuff.
Hell
I
yeah.
like, weirdo stuff, like what I'm wearing right now.
Look at it. Come on, that's crazy.
I like weird stuff too, but I think that's a different conversation, right? If we're talking about that history, it's more like art history, as opposed to contemporary art, which is like what I'm wearing right now.
I think one thing I want to point out is that I think Nike really, got our attention because they did an awesome job of marketing during the time when we were younger, right?
I think that's part of the fun and definitely a huge part of the history, marking those chronological moments in your head. I remember being like, okay, Spike
it's still
Lee
fresh.
era,
It's still fresh.
Mars Blackman era.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay. Oh, the man, then I remember the man is from Mars. He only comes down for game day and practice. All these okay, now he's in space and he's space jamming. Now he's from outer space. Just this great storylines.
Thank you.
That not just with the Jordan Lane, of course, but in general, these great storylines.
Bo knows. We got
other, before art and fashion and, this culture existed, theater existed, right? So, hundreds and hundreds and thousands of years ago, people did theater. Yeah. And what was Nike doing? What does any good artist do? Any good filmmaker, any good designer? You're creating theater.
Yep.
There has to be some drama, some humor,
a story,
some appeal, some charm, some,
character building.
Sure. Yeah. So I think that's let's be real, right? Some people wore these shoes, including ourselves, as status symbols, as money, markers, as whatever it is. That's how this culture started in New York, was people wanting to impress other people in their neighborhood.
There's a status behind it.
Status symbols, 100%.
Yeah.
I drive a Mercedes. Okay. I understand what a status symbol is.
Yeah.
But the stories along the way, you know, it's like pro wrestling, you know, it really ropes you in.
Awesome.
You know?
That's
So
what got your
I
attention.
think you're right. I think that's what you guys are all about with this. And I think that's where I think all three of us, it sounds like, started from, you know?
Yeah, just connecting those dots, right? And I always say when we connect the dots, it brings a state of euphoria. Right, it brings going down memory lane, like like I remember in high school it was like Little Penny, like Little Penny, right? At childhood, Bo Jackson, right? So we have so many dot connectors that Nike has played off of, like you said, with marketing,
and it just stuck here. And we grew up with it, and then honestly, I hold on to it. You know, anytime I talk to someone about like, a certain vintage piece, we go down that memory lane. Like, oh man, I saw this commercial, I saw this ad in an old magazine, or I saw this shoe on the thing. And those are some of the stories that I love hearing from other people. And so those are some of the stories that we connected with. Yeah. And I know you have some badass like athletes that you gravitated towards. Can you tell us more about that?
Yeah. I mean, we could go.
What's your Kickstory,
a couple? Yeah, let's do a couple shoes that match up with some athletes, right?
For sure.
Cool.
So we're gonna start off with. I'm going to go as far back as 4th grade here for me.
4th grade.
My daughter's in 4th grade right now. She's 9. I was 9 years old when I first got this particular pair of shoes. This is a pair of shoes that wasn't as crazy expensive as a Jordan, but it was, you know, something, you know, in that next little price point. So not a cheap.
It still looked good.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
A fancy shoe at the time, right?
Yeah.
Bells and whistles and stuff. And that's what attracted me to it was all the bells and whistles.
Okay.
All right. So
What we got?
4th grade, right here.
Woo!
89, right?
Wow.
Tinker Hatfield's, you know, sort of heyday, in my opinion, sort of this like amazing golden age of sneakers that these came out in. You know, I had kind of built up to this.
Tech challenge.
So I started out with some real basic stuff like black flights with a white swoosh, you know, in 2nd grade, you know, 3rd grade, black cement 3s, you know, 88, 3rd grade for me, 1988.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden I remember the rich kids all having 4s and I still had my 3s on.
Yeah.
And I remember that, you know, watching this dude, Victor Chasoff, who was like a year older than me, shooting like before school, warming up, shooting hoops from the free throw. He's making like 7, 8 in a row. I'm like fat kid who can barely get it up there. And he had the white and military blue 4s, and I hadn't even graduated from my black 3s yet.
Yeah.
And this guy's over there, and he had them all unlaced. When I noticed this, you know,
that little tab,
that cool detail there. This like sort of, you know, race car,
those lines,
like cage,
cage,
and it's creating this gorgeous space for the viewer, but it also has this coolness to where the laces go, blah, you know. And then I remember the texture on the tongue, you know. Again, this is looking at his 4, whatever. I just remember, you know, the tongue kind of pops. The 4, it's kind of like this, has a collar on the inside, kind of pops, right? So we have both Tinker shoes, right?
Yeah.
What do I know at the time? I just know Nike is sick.
Yeah.
You know? What the fuck? So you know, a couple months past my next shoes after my black cement 3s were totally worn. I go and see these at the mall. And I didn't really know about Agassi yet. I didn't really know see him in the outfits and the hair yet. But I saw these and I was like, whoa. And
so you saw those before you even knew what
Neon was in though. You know, Neon was hot,
a lot of brands were having that.
It was a trend, you know. And so I saw neon pink. And you know, I had a Boca and a skateboard, and you know, it was kind of where like surf and skate culture was crossing over. And I was like, okay, I could do this. This might be my next move right here. Yeah. And I'm young, you know, I'm 9, but I wanted them anyways.
Wait, hold on. You saw those. You gravitated toward those, not even knowing who Agassi was.
Right. Yeah. Then I had friends. I had a homie with older brothers, and he's like, "Oh, the Agassis. Oh, yeah, these." You know, he was a real nerd too. I remember with baseball cards, he was always like Ricky Henderson, 2nd year card, not worth this much. Right? Yeah. He was like always one of those dudes chirping, and I remember him saying, "Oh, the Agassis." And I'm like, Agassi, okay. You know, and I'm like, that name, it just sounded cool. Then I seen that fool with the outfits, and I was like, oh, dang, okay, this dude's sick, you know? And then, you know, the whole, everything from the lava to the pink to the wings, right? To the windows to these nice little details. Even this really cool sort of tennis edition, right? Where like, oh yeah, you're planting your toe so much that you need that extra like curve. Like that's just an aesthetic genius. Right?
Oh, I see what you mean.
Yeah, like So, anyways, I was sold. And I think my budget was 40. And there's, I want to say 65 if I had to guess, like 65.99, 68.99 back then.
Yeah.
Not breaking the bank like my Jordan 3s broke them, but that was my Christmas present.
Yeah.
So just me randomly wanting some shoes. So I remember I lied to my dad and I told him, yeah, mom said 60. And I think they were 68.99. And he's like, all right, tell you what, you do some yard work for the rest, for the extra $10 or whatever, and you're good. And I'm like, oh. Man, I really ran that.
It worked.
Really ran that scheme. And coming from a lifelong schemester, bro. Coming from a lifelong person who always found ways to get what they wanted when it comes to shoes or clothes. And maybe not always, out of nowhere, right? I pulled these out of nowhere, and then by Monday I go to school with these joints and a white tee, and some Vision. Mark Gonzalez Vision, swirly-eyed shorts or something, something real 89 through 91 vibe. Anyways, this is it. This is not my first love, but this was my first like big score with footwear. And I was also getting bigger, so I got a men's size. I'm probably 8.5 at this point. Instead of wearing that, it's probably a 7 in them 88, black cement 3s, and then my toe was broken, like literally ripped apart. I wore them until this is the first shoe this shoe I wore, they ripped apart too.
Oh yeah.
This was the first shoe I was like, I guess needed it.
Yeah.
I wanted the black cement 3s. This shoe I was like, nah, I'm gonna have them.
Yeah.
And I need them by like Saturday types, thing. Like,
because if you look at them, it has almost the exact same tech as like the 4s, because it has the tab up here as the air bubble.
Let's not even get started on the fact, this is early on the windows. Of course, and what's funny is, my 3s might have not had the air bubble because
it was a kit size. Yeah, you're right.
Have them. So this is like another step for me.
Hell yeah, that was like an upgrade.
This
for
was
sure.
a gateway drug.
That's a big deal.
This shoe was a gateway drug for me from like regular basketball Nikes and Jordans into Bo Jacksons and crazier stuff.
Hell yeah.
This was a gateway drug. This was a halfway for me.
Yeah.
So speaking of bows, what do you got?
So I got
classic one right there.
A recent pickup.
Classic.
Okay.
A recent pickup. I'm a huge fan of Air Trainer, all of them.
Yeah.
GW, regular, 1 through 3, 1 through 4, whatever. I love them all.
Yep.
Recent pickup from the Nike store got me some Air Trainer ones. I wanted to show something that
classics,
that I haven't had for
That's
a long
dope
time.
Berry color too.
Really cool color. I'm gonna wear these tonight to the hockey game. I got me a little like icy blue, sort of purplish looking.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
It goes the same.
Yeah, feel me?
Yes, sir.
Tonight. So
That's
just
a good
picked
look.
these up from the Nike store. I only worn them once. With like a black and white outfit, but I think I'm gonna go,
classic style, man.
Something. Yeah. So anyway, love all the Bo stuff. Now the Air Trainer ones I discovered later in life when I had the internet, and I remember seeing them. I remember them back then. They weren't one I was after the way I was with the SCs.
Yeah.
But so the SCs were that next shoe after the Agassi that I just had to have.
It had the air bubble on the SCs too.
Yeah, but I couldn't help bring these ones in just because I like to talk about them. I'm super into the fact that Nike widened these finally.
Yeah.
I love that they made the strap big enough to fold over and still keep that wide, cool shape.
You like them wide?
They used to wrinkle the early 2000 retros of these, late 90s through 05 retros.
That material
would really wrinkle up right here. These don't wrinkle up on you.
Or
crease, I guess, is what most people would call it. I call that banana. You know what I'm saying? I don't say crease. Yeah, I didn't grow up being like, your shoes are crease.
Yeah.
I was like, that dude got banana shoes, bro. Like, if you know what I mean? Like, what's up that banana boat, dog? Like, why?
Because it's curving? Is that why? Okay.
Yeah, the curve, bro. And the curve comes from the tension here, right?
Yeah.
But like, so don't do that to yourself or the shoe or like, I get it. We all like know those people in our lives that are a bit autistic that like to pull their shoes really tight. And some shoes, right? And some shoes,
oh boy, chokers.
Some shoes look cool like that.
Chokers.
Like but so 85s, vintage with some jeans tied real tight on some punk rock Ramones vibe. The Bo Jackson. Well, you gotta look. It was meant to breathe.
You gotta breathe in those.
It was meant to breathe. It's a cross trainer, man. You might wear it to the gym. You might wear it running through a creek. Apparently, you might like play a little tennis in this joint.
Hell yeah.
Apparently golf.
Those are timeless, man.
What else was he playing? Roller hockey. You know,
He was cycling that commercial. You're talking about the commercial where he's doing everything, right? Yeah.
He was doing that.
Cross training, man. He was the first CrossFit dude, in my opinion. He was the first CrossFit guy.
And honestly, if you want to be fit all around and you want to lose weight and you want to be, that's CrossFit is the best way because you're doing everything.
And he was the dude that did that.
Exactly
Yeah,
100%.
Oh, I mean, he's the GOAT athlete.
Yeah.
100%.
Football, baseball, dude.
Athlete, yeah.
I mean, he was just that guy.
I agree. I agree with that.
Yeah.
I agree.
mean, he's a superhero.
Going back to the point about Nike, they chose an athlete that they knew, hey, this guy can really help us market, a cross training shoe, because this was fairly new. Because I know Reebok was trying to challenge them with the cross training,
get into the gym,
right?
Stuff.
That whole
aerobics,
thing,
Reebok
aerobics and stuff like that too. So they were really competing for that space, But I think Bo Jackson and Nike really teamed up, did some awesome stuff, and hence it left a good memory in your head, right? So that's why you always thought of these as a special shoe.
Well, and again, yes, that's part of it. But to me, it always starts with the aesthetics. So to me, I seen that SC, and of course, I knew that's the new Bo Jackson. But at the same time, I'm like, yo, what's up with this crazy duct tape? Like, what's up with the packing tape running along the side of this shoe, dog?
Okay.
Like, what's up with these weird two double, on the SC, the double stripes, To me, and then later in life, as you become sort of a connoisseur of things, a shoe like this kind of brings it back to the simplicity. And so there's bells and whistles and all this cool stuff, but at the same time, it's white and black and gray based.
Yeah.
With one hint of color.
Yeah.
I love a white lace, white sole, white toe box combo. I love white jumping. I love the contrast of jumping shapes. Yep. So this shoe to me, I to find this in a Nike outlet for the price I got these, that made me feel
that's a score.
Like the old days.
Hell yeah.
And you know what was cool about that too? It was like, pick your poison. I call that the pick your poison because that's a Bo Jackson's, that's a John McEnroe, right? Because he did tennis in those.
That's
as
true.
well,
That's true.
Right? When I was a kid,
This is
right.
This is also for style.
Yeah.
I was like. I was a big boy.
Yeah.
I wasn't cross training, but I was probably riding bikes and busting out slingshots, and this is like me going into my Punisher era, where I was hiding out and doing cool,
playing cool stuff,
So I in my own fat kid way, I was cross training.
Yeah,
hell yeah, that's it, man. That's what it's all about. You create your own story.
But at the same time, it was style, right? It's like everything. People are like, oh, what are the meaning of your tattoos? I'm like, no, I do it because I like the way it looks. I wear sneakers because I like the way they looked, and that made an impression on me. And then all the advertising just helped me understand what color is coming out next, right?
Yeah,
I'm like, what? The Jordans are gonna have two straps that fold over each other? Can't wait to see those. I'm not gonna buy them, but I can't wait to see your Air Raids. I remember seeing Air Raids and being like, yo, sick. I'm not gonna wear them, but I'm like, I can't wait to see some sick African ball player dude, and some Hakeem type vibes,
those colors too, and the style,
different cats, different cats were wearing different things, right? So for me, this was the white kid BMXer shoe that I could just wear it. It felt casual. It's kind of like a skate shoe, But then I see other models, and I was aware from all the advertising what's coming out, and I know who was gonna rock that. The rich older dudes and the actual ball players. They had the Jordans and they had the 8s through the 11s. Who were 11s in high school? The actual ballers. Drug dealers and actual basketball players. So I was just admiring 11s. By high school, I'm just like, whoa. And I knew by high school I liked Air Max and I like to look cool and have some cash, jumpsuit, So 11s on a fat man, they just don't, I'm saying, dog, unless you're a Cowboys fan with a mustache, I don't know what fat.
There's a certain aesthetic.
Yeah, it's hard to be a fat man and wear high, high top skinny shoes. Okay. It's a tough look.
So mids are as high as you go then.
This even for me, I will give some type of an optical illusion and wear a half sock with these joints. Okay. You know what I'm saying? I don't, I understand my body type and I don't need to make my ankles kinklier. I'm blessed to have skinny wrists and skinny ankles for a big man. Okay. And I like that. but I don't need to make it worse. So
Yeah,
again, this shoe, this is about as far as I could push it, or a 4.
That's funny.
Those higher vintage 4s that go up a little higher.
Yeah.
I don't. It's funny you say I don't really own any high tops in my rotation right now. This is pretty high for my closet.
That's the limit.
I don't do high tops anymore. I could do a 3 if somebody hit me with a cool vintage black cement 3 from '89 or something, like a used pair. I'll do that. I'm down. That's as high as I'm going now. I don't want to feel like You're
not doing Jordan 1s.
I never have.
Yeah.
Never have. So in that phase of my life in '85, I was probably wearing like Pro Kids with like crazy monsters on them. You know what I'm saying? I was watching Nickelodeon, bro. I remember having Jordache. I transferred from private school to public school. We all know public schools where you start feeling like shit when you have crappy clothes, apparently, and get bullied. So I second grade, I remember the first week, I had some Jordache. They were black with like some little yellow monsters on them, or some like snakes or something that I thought my mom and I together thought was cool. And some dude I don't know, I did the cardinal sin of calling them Jordans. And I was like, yeah, I got some Jordans. Just like trying to be a kid. And some dude's like, those are Jordan's ass. Jordache is Jordan's ass. And I was like, oh, and I'm like reading the label
that's
on
crazy.
the back of my own shoe.
Crazy.
And I'm like, Jordan's ass. Wow.
I
just did
crazy.
that.
Yeah,
I just wore
never
Jordan's
heard that
ass,
before.
apparently.
Okay.
So that one hurt me. I could tell you right where I was standing on my playground, where Mata I was looking at. I have a visual memory of this bully moment. So again, by third grade, I had the flights, 89s, played 89s, black with the white trim, and maybe like some hyper color, like a matching top and bottom set. I wasn't playing by like third or fourth grade, But they caught me slipping in second grade when I thought I was still a kid playing with action figures.
I got something for
George Jordan's ass, dog. And I'm like, all right, cool. I'm gonna play with action figures. I'm also gonna go to the mall with girls. I'm gonna have dope shoes. I'm gonna do it all, And I think. I hate to like ever support. We have kids. I don't support bullying at all, but some of this like bring back bullying like jokes. I can get down with it, and I understand the sentiment to a certain degree because this is messed up, man. I'm like, I guess I'm succumbing to the pressure of the bully and the system and capitalism here, but. I did start feeling, I stuck up for myself a few times. Maybe even by coming back fresh. I was like,
that was your comeback.
Like, I'm all right, and then I realized that, being yourself in every purest form is the best thing to do, right?
Right.
So I just, by the time, I'm walking the hot pink joints, I had really learned that. By the fourth grade, and by the time I got into Bose and I started expressing myself, I had, and I got into NWA and some of these rap groups, so I would get, I had the black and gray SCs with the 34.
With some Raiders gear or something.
All Raiders. And then all of a sudden, I was a bad man. And I was kissing girls that spin the bottle, and I was like, nah, we stole that gum. That gum you're chewing, we took it from the store. So, I thought I was a bad boy by 5th and 6th grade. I was,
That's funny, man.
That's dope.
Yeah, That's so I guess sneakers are very intertwined with my childhood.
And that's what it's all about, man. Those stories, those you get into like those deep little like stories that going back to the bullying thing, and then coming back fresh. The feel good moment. So that's awesome, man. Like that's what it's all about. And sometimes for us, it starts from the feet up. Feet up.
You know what? It's crazy. My mom was always down. My mom's from New York originally, and my mom, was always trying to lace me up. My mom's comes from some pretty good fashion, background, and her parents were in the military, but they always dressed nice and fancy. So I think that she knew. She always got me the low. I think she was a big fan of me rocking the low, and then that was later on. But early on, my mom would realize that Nike stuff was cool and it was comfy, and so I had matching Nike top and bottom sets. Little check, little this right here, embroidered on that and embroidered on the shorts, just basics. I had the Jordan, the man lives on Mars. He only comes down, for game day. I had the top and bottom of that from Mervyn's. Like all the cotton, cheaper Nikes, like not that stuff. This is the stuff I looked up to. What you're wearing is the kind of apparel that I started collecting as an adult. When I was I got money. I got money now. I got that joint before Drake. I have the red Netflix one with the white lettering, way before Drake blew it up. And that one and my red one are my two favorite. So apparel played a part too.
Oh yeah.
But you're right. It started with the shoes. But my mom was always down with clothes. I'm the one who brought shoes into the picture. My dad was kind of down. My mom was always lacing me up with the good outfits. Like she just like shopping. I think it made her feel good. And so I would be like, yeah,
good fits.
Yeah, let me just, Gerbo. Once I got into, middle school, it was like Barclays and Gerbo and Z Cavarici.
Yeah.
And Barkley with like an open tongue unlaced. And I'm like, I wasn't a
just
skater.
so casual.
Yeah, I wasn't really a skater yet. So I was still kind of like, and then, I went through a skater phase in 8th grade, and I wore, probably honestly, crazily enough, the only time in my life where I swayed over into Adidas was my skater phase. I had campus. I got into Adidas campus and shell toes, and that was kind of my vibe for a while in high school. Tagger, kind of like Tagger skater, more cholo almost, even big, like wide leg Jinkos and Ben Davis. But then I'm what's gave me 2 years there where I was experimenting. By junior year of high school, when I was a dope boy, and it was like Polo, Tommy, Nautica, all Nike. Like all brand, the Nike, the new teched out Air Max,
of course,
TNs or 97s or weird shit.
TNs,
it was like, I get it. You're paying for the tech. You're paying for the look. You're paying for the extras. You're paying for the sports car. I mean, honestly, some of those weird Air Maxes were sports cars. The way they looked.
The shape of them,
So I started getting it, right? And later I got it, and I was into the trendy shit. Then graduated in 98, discovered retro, the quote unquote, the concept of retro in 99.
The reissues
or whatever. I just kept saying they put them out, bro. I tell my brother they put them back out. He's like, what? I'm like, the white 5s or like the ones with the reflective. Then all of a sudden the internet, I'm like looking at a retro card of someone else's on the internet on Nike Talk or something, and I'm like, the 1, the 2, the 3, the 4. Okay, I remember. I remember when the 11 junior year, all the like Mexican cats had the 11s, the bread 11s. And you weren't nobody if you didn't have, and so I'm marking history with using the internet, with going back and doing my own research in a way, just wanting to know what is going on here? Oh, they remake them. Oh, there's other people who are obsessed with this stuff.
Yes, exactly.
Whoa, and because in Tucson, I didn't have a bunch of homies collecting shoes like I do now. I'm lucky to be around hundreds of people a week that have the same interests as me. It wasn't always like that in Tucson in the early 2000s. I was a weirdo. I remember back when
girls having kicks, you was a weirdo. That's crazy.
I remember back when girls used to say, "Oh, you're a shoe guy. You're one of those shoe guys."
Really, that was a thing.
Oh, yeah, and it wasn't a good thing.
I didn't know.
It was like being the 40-year-old virgin, because I collect toys too.
I see what you mean.
Some chicks get it, some don't. It's fine, but I don't like. I don't know. I'm not a Lego. I'm not a Lego like. I don't know. I won't consider myself a nerdy toy collector.
There's an art form to it.
It ties in art.
It ties into art. So I think that's why it stands out as more of like an art rather than like a toy collecting. That's just my opinion.
Well, I do it all. I love to collect. I like to sell it. I like to talk about it. I like to have it as a hobby, just as going to conventions, talking to people. And more than anything, the most important thing, I like to use them as function. I like to function with them. I do everything. I'll hike in some cool ass shoes. And I just took my Shocks. I have one great pair of Shocks, probably a pair of shoes that I get complimented on the most when I wear Shocks, because they're just unique and they're special and they look great.
They are.
And I went hiking. I went in the water. I ran across a river. Bro.
In Shocks?
Yeah.
You didn't get rocks like stuck in the thing?
No, because they're plastic, so they kind of like hold you up above the water.
Okay.
You're not going to soak in through the holes.
So they're like floaters.
You're kind of up. Yeah.
Shocks are the new hiking sneakers.
Dude, I wear Shocks to do everything. That's the thing about the Shocks. They're almost like my actual
They're like your Crocs. They're like your Crocs. Like
I'm a huge, they kind of, I got the Shocks Nova, which is like a really sick model.
Those are fly.
It's like an Air Max with shocks on the bottom, but they're shocks throughout, sort of. Similar to the Vince Carters and the Jermaine O'Neals, but a running shoe version.
Okay.
And I'm a big fan of the Shocks Nova. It's just one of the only newer designs that I'm like actually like obsessed with. When in my heart, this is the stuff that comes to mind when I think about sneakers. But then sometimes I can get down with the modern stuff and get creative too. It just needs to have, It needs to have that big boy. I need a big shoe. I like a chunky shoe.
You like chunky
You know,
shoes?
like,
Okay.
catch me. That's why I couldn't wear Converse All-Star or Vans. I don't like when a shoe hugs my foot. You know, I need some extra. I need a space boot vibe. You know, I need to come stomping through.
So the shocks that you're talking about has like a classic upper, but with like a new tech bottom, which are like the shocks, right? So you kind of like that mix.
Yeah. I mean, it's I believe it's an original model. So I believe that they took some of the Air Max technology in the early 2000s and then incorporated the shocks technology, and so they had like a nice marriage.
Like classic meets.
Yeah, I don't even think they thought of it as a hybrid. I think it's just a model that I never saw. It's actually mostly a women's model. So they're actually like women's running shoes. But I find that sometimes some of these women's styles can be really cool. I'm a 9.5. So I believe it or not, I shop in the women's section pretty often at sneaker
I don't blame
stores.
you, man.
At Nike stores in particular.
Yeah.
I've worn like women's style like jackets and stuff like that because they have some badass colors. I'm like, hey, if it fits me, I know how to put it together, so I'm not afraid of that.
I mean,
whole thing,
you know, I wouldn't have been surprised if this was a women's release and this would have been a colorway I would have bought. I used to go crazy over the pink and purple stuff in the Cameron era, and you know, I loved it. I remember they were doing, Nike did a whole pack, and it was white, gray, and pink, like full blown
fuchsia.
No, baby pink, like Cameron, baby pink. Like
soft
pink.
Okay.
Yeah, there was a whole pack. It was like Air Forces, Dunks. They did a whole pack of them, and they did bows and everything. Bows. They made a lot of white and pink bows.
Oh hell yeah, that was a color in the 90s, man.
I go hard on women's.
You mentioned. Oh, hey yo, you mentioned.
No, it's not pause because I go hard when I get to the women's section.
Yeah, you know,
so it's not pause.
Good point.
I don't know.
No, good point. He meant.
I go hard into that section, dog.
Yeah,
I get it. While y'all, other people might be in the men's section, I'm in the women's.
That's a fact. That's a fact. So that's valid. That's valid.
I never have to pause.
I understand now.
That's valid.
For a second,
you mentioned you have a special shoe. You told us earlier you have a special shoe that I don't know what it is.
I got something for sale. You guys were asking what the best thing the shop had for sale right now, footwear wise. I got something for sale that I want to show. So we got a couple pieces, couple pairs that remind me of my childhood.
Right.
We're gonna go into some stuff that we have in the store, the type of stuff we sell.
That's
more unique and special.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Show us what you got.
Okay, let's go.
These are one of a kinds.
I got something here. I got
pump it up.
I'm going against all my theories here. I'm going against all my principles, and I'm showing a Reebok.
Hell yeah.
Because it's the best Reebok. It's the pump. And not only this, obviously, the D Brown Pump Omnilight, black with the white trim, with the orange basketball, signed by D Brown, the slam dunk champ himself.
Hell yeah.
And
with the shirt.
Let's go.
T-shirt.
Okay.
And each shoe is signed by D Brown.
Come on now. So we got the official tissue Reebok Pump t-shirt.
The retro shoe with the retro tee that matches.
Oh my God.
Signed by D Brown back in 2012.
Eyes closed.
Oh, yeah.
Come on.
So he covers his eyes. He wants to dunk with that,
Slobby
right?
Robby, you selling this?
We're selling this as a pack. In fact, I was thinking of offering you guys something fun. Maybe the day that this podcast drops, we list these for sale on our website.
Okay,
let's go.
Cool,
Right?
cool.
On the Generation Cool website.
Yeah.
And then they'll go live on the website that day, and they'll be available to your YouTube viewers, and we'll put the link in there. Your YouTube viewers
That's
only.
love.
Also,
That's love.
awesome.
Let's
So,
go. That's
of course,
awesome.
we're going to have the
that's
link
good.
on our YouTube channel, and we're going to blast this out on our Instagram. So look for that really soon. Again, we got some retro pumps.
Signature D Brown.
Signature D Brown. So these are the basically the model that he wore during the slam dunk contest.
This is them. This is him. Look at here's him doing here's him doing the dunk.
Oh yeah.
The original hang tag.
What size are these?
That they brought back, the Hexalite, they really did it.
These are 9.5s.
They really copied the original very well.
They're not for you. They're not for you. They're going on sale. I know it's your size.
Hey, look, this is my size too, buddy.
I'm a 9. I could fit 9.5s. Just put extra socks.
I think you
Two
could fit
socks.
these are kind of, although they are a wide shoe, this shoe takes up a lot of space on your ankle, so it's kind of better to have a bigger size.
I have the white pair, the mid. I'm sorry, the lower cut.
Sure.
I have the white lower cut ones, but they're super
First thing
comfortable.
I'm noticing about this pair right here, look at the leather, look at the texture.
Oh,
like this looks like real
they
deal.
didn't. Yeah, they didn't skimp on this retro. This reminds me of vintage leather. This is a very if you're gonna say like luxury leather, I would think of something like
Definitely.
this. It's soft,
Definitely
it's slick, and yeah, it has that. It has a little bit of a tumbled, and then it's cool because it contrasts with the super smooth, classic sort of Air Force One style shiny finish.
Hexalite. It was basically their cushioning system to compete against Nike's, Air units, which is honestly one of my favorite ones because Shaq had this. Iverson had this on his shoes when they released before they went to DMX.
Real plush.
These are the ones.
Yeah.
Hexalite.
And
really
these
awesome.
have a real hexalite.
Yeah,
This
exactly
retro.
right.
It has like the actual soft hexalite.
I could tell right
now.
now.
All the pumps don't always have
Layden's
the
Reeboks that they have it now.
They're just stickers.
Yeah,
they're just stickers.
it's
really?
The fake hexalite.
Wow.
They skimming out on those, man.
They took it out. Yeah.
Good
A lot of the retros they don't put the hexalite branding on it because it's no longer hexalite. So this has hexalite. So not only does it have a pump technology,
and hexalite.
Yeah, so, dude, during the 90s, having all that, dude, imagine you as a kid having these. You're in the future.
Yeah.
You're in the future.
Look, this was a shoe that was so far out of my price range that my parents never even considered Nike pump or Reebok pump. It was a big no.
These were like 200 bones, huh? Back then?
This was a big no from my mom.
Was this like was this
I would have
like 190.
I would have gone hard on these or the white ones.
Yeah.
This exact model in white with the black trim and the orange ball, I would have gone hard on if I was a rich kid.
Oh yeah, like the way that sounds.
But I wasn't a rich kid. I developed skills of yards. I developed landscaping skills and car washing skills to get my shoes as I got older.
You worked your way up, man. Just the way it should be.
I would usually do yards around the neighborhood, and then I would do my neighbors wash their cars. But I wouldn't have even my mom paying half and me saving for 2 months. I wouldn't have been able to get.
See, that's another cool thing about like back in the day, dude. Like when you wear something, a lot of times we work for it. We did like odd jobs, maybe chores around the house. We did something that made the shoes even more special.
Yeah.
And I don't know, to me, that's why I think highly of what I have, what I kept as a kid, because it reminds me of those things. But
Or you got them for Christmas from your grandma.
Yeah.
I have shoes that I got from my grandma right now. Retros. My brother has a bunch of retros. I have this awesome system where my brother's my archivist. So I'll pass shoes down up over to my brother the same size. Yeah. And I'll pass shoes over to him and tell him, hey, grandma gave me these. Yeah. Hold on to them. So my brother has probably 100 of my old pairs,
Really?
Yeah, so old Dunks from early 2000s Euro release. I used to go to Europe just to shop for Dunks.
Hell yeah. I heard, remember we were part of another podcast that a dude was actually talking about some pairs that he got in Europe or Germany or something.
Exclusive. Well, back then it was Euro release.
Yeah, there was a lot of exclusive, right?
No one was putting them on eBay.
Exactly right. You're making a good point.
No one was doing that.
For sure.
Now they're going for what, thousands, right? Around that now?
Sure. So like, I had these like shimma, this shimma pack. Where it's like silk on the inside with pinstripes and they're Dunk highs. And they were kind of SB vibe with like a lot of suede. And I wore the heck out of them. Both pairs. My brother has them now and they're beat. But if I had just kept them or flipped them, $2,000 shoes.
Easy.
I don't know. I think
Easy.
Something like that.
Oh,
Easy. Maybe more.
All right, so
I'm loving these. I'm loving
the
these.
release of this episode. Generation Cool website, you said?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Okay. We have all the details.
Generation Cool website right there in the comments, right underneath. This whole pack will be available. The shirts just to throw in for free, a gift from Generation Cool on the exact morning that this podcast drops.
So check this out. One thing I did want to point out. These are actually a special 15th year anniversary, right? So these are numbered. This is number 31 out of 1991, which is the year that D. Brown won the slam dunk contest, 1991. So they only made 1,991 pairs of these. So these are pretty rare. Yeah. On top of that, they have the signature. On top of that, special gift. So these are special.
Yo,
a lot of Kickstory here.
A lot of that's Kickstory at its finest.
Yeah, literally. I mean, this is actual history.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah,
this is a collection piece.
Oh yeah,
a statement piece. Basically a piece of art.
This is NBA memorabilia too, because honestly, like he won the slam dunk contest, 91. Everyone, you can see highlights on YouTube right now with him doing this whole thing. 100%. This is like when they were trying to be very, very unique with their dunks.
And honestly, this shoe is gonna hold up over time as a collection piece better than the vintage one would have.
Yeah.
Oh, of course.
Yeah. And only because they make them different now, and this is a very
better materials,
high quality retro.
Yeah,
It's gonna hold up forever.
Yeah.
And the most memorable thing about it was we talk about Nike marketing, right? But what D Brown did before he closed his eyes,
Perfect.
He pumped it up.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Big deal.
That was a commercial.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So like Reebok, kudos to you. That was marketing at its finest.
This is hype at its finest. I bought into this hype. I'm gonna admit it. I'm gonna be a hypocrite here. I was brainwashed in a good way into wanting pumps of any kind.
Yeah.
And I never got them until I was older. And then I had a couple of these pairs when I got older. Yeah. And I was feeling myself in my 20s with some joints like this.
Yeah. Super special
guys,
shoe.
Kickstory
D Brown.
exclusive. Yeah. Kickstory exclusive. Generation Cool. Slobby Robby selling this on the website. The date is dropped, man. That's love, man.
For sure, man. No, thank you for doing that, because honestly, like, this is a lot of Kickstory, a lot of history, great collector's piece.
Mm-hmm.
The box is also signed.
Hell yeah.
So,
Oh, yes.
Dead stock in the box. Both shoes signed. Box signed. Free.
That's rare to have both shoes signed. A lot of times they just say,
You
just
got
sign
3 D Brown signatures and the shirt.
That's major.
Honestly, you know what? I actually got a like or as a comment from D Brown way back. But to me, he seems like an approachable guy online too. So that's kind of cool that let's say whoever buys this, hey, tag him. I'm sure he's gonna be like, oh hell yeah, he's gonna be show you some love too there.
Yeah.
From what I gather. So
but
awesome. Good deal.
You know what? You got a heart shoe, one that connects to your corazon, your heart.
Oh boy.
He has a corazon one.
Okay.
That we talked about too. So
you hyped us up to this, so we're curious to hear what this shoe's all about.
Well, you asked me what was the best shoe. You asked me what was my favorite shoe in my entire sneaker closet. So it can't be anything just ordinary.
Okay.
So I went with a 3-part judging system. My all-time favorite model and silhouette of Nike, which is my all-time brand.
Okay.
And a custom.
Okay.
And a 101.
Of course.
So I feel like if you're asking me what's like my the shoe I'm attached to the most, that's the most special in my sneaker closet, it's gonna be these.
Okay. So 100% custom, 1 of 1. Air Force.
Hey.
Okay, here we go. All right.
Obviously,
walk us through it.
Nike Air Force 1, my favorite model, low top. I'm just a big Air Force 1 guy. I love the chunky sole. I love slipping my foot in and out with them untied. I love.
They go with everything, huh?
Everything about this shoe. I'm a white shoe guy. I'm a low top guy. I'm a chunky Nike guy. I like the classic swoosh. I like the classic check on the tongue. So, this is my all-time favorite shoe. And then where do we go from there? I had an amazing artist reach out to me out of Germany, out of Berlin, who does like incredibly high quality work. And he was a big fan of mine. He knows that I'm a big fan of MCM, which is also a German company.
Yep.
So I thought, okay, bro, if we're going to do a collab, let's do my favorite shoe. Let's do my favorite color.
Mm-hmm.
And let's do my favorite brand. So everybody who knows me knows red is my favorite color. This is me. Red, Generation Cool, red. All my shop logos, everything's red. It's just my favorite color. Always has been my whole life, even before I was a Bulls fan. And
Same
Bulls
here,
are my
man.
squad.
Same.
So I've just red is my thing.
Same here.
So he came to me and wanted to do MCM because he's from, originally from Munich, where MCM's originally from, and he wanted to do some kind of a collaboration. And I said, you know what, dude, let's do an MCM on my favorite shoe and let's add my favorite color. And he said, I don't know if red and goldish, what we call cognac, right? Like cognac, red and what he was calling brown, red and brown, red and cognac. And I said, I think it'll be really unique because you've seen a million just MCM and white Air Force Ones, even if you put my name on it, all that, whatever. But I don't think you've ever seen red and MCM together, which this is a very Generation Cool slobby colorway with my favorite brand on my favorite shoe.
But that leather, look at that leather texture.
Laser engraved Slobby Robby on the back with Generation Cool embroidered over the Nike embroidery.
That's embroidered?
Yes.
What?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Nah, sorry, it's another laser print.
Okay, so but still laser print.
My name laser printed on the heel, and Generation Cool laser printed over the original Nike.
I just noticed it has a Robby here and then Slobby over there. Okay.
And then look at the tongue. Even look at the details. Like details.
The tongue is awesome. This leather's badass. The
Gorgeous.
MCM
Robbie,
stuff.
come on, now, this is
Authentic
crazy.
MCM, sewn on the way Nike would have sewn it. A lot of times people glue this stuff on. These
Yeah.
are all sewn on.
Absolutely.
All bespoke. All 101. I would never,
Yeah, that's tough.
no one else will ever own these.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's-
you've worn these once already.
I wore these once, as you can see,
They're
but
still
they
clean. They're
look
still
great.
clean. Yeah, hell yeah.
And I
they
would
do.
wear them again. I would, me being the wise sneaker owner that I am, I would wear these to an event and step lightly
yeah.
and tread lightly, as we all should in life. And, I'm going to take care of these and I'm going to have these for the rest of my life. But I'll be honest, I'm going to wear them. I don't own a pair of shoes at all that I've never worn,
Hell yeah.
regardless of value.
In New York, we call those uptowns because that shoe, Air Force One, really we feel came from Harlem, and
Right.
we call Harlem uptown.
Yep.
So we had that era in like 2002, 2003 Dipset era,
Yeah.
right? Where it was a bunch of customs,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, yeah.
Gucci
like a
customs.
rebirth of a Dapper Dan vibe.
Exactly.
For sure,
Mm.
like a renaissance.
Got it,
of
got it.
custom.
But you said something very important that makes this even more incredible. During that time, a lot of it was like pasted on there.
Yeah.
And if the stitching was off,
Hand drawn.
hand drawn. This is really, really
Craftsmanship.
Yeah,
detailed
these
to
Germans take their quality very serious. I love it. MCM is my favorite luggage company. It's my favorite, designer, quote unquote, brand. Mercedes is my favorite car brand. I love German stuff. I collect German craftsmanship. And I'm a huge fan of a lot of the sneaker artists and customizers that come out of Germany because they're so meticulous
Yep.
and they're so high quality. And I think anyone should do any art that they want on any shoe, any age, right?
Yeah.
But I'm gonna say, for my taste in customs, I really like a well put together, high quality sew job.
Yeah.
I don't own a pair of. Well, yeah, actually, I have one pair of customs, but they're not special. But I'm seeing this. I'm like a little inspired. But
So
like,
here's
try
the
something.
thing about the Air Force One: it's the most customizable shoe.
True.
Yeah, it is.
It just is. It's
I've
just
never
a
worn
great
it.
blank. You can paint it. You can
Yeah.
engrave it. You can resew it.
Yeah.
You name it. It gives you this opportunity to play with the paneling. Which is another thing I think I did here.
Yeah, you did.
Was
yeah.
play with the paneling. You still have the white Air Force One vibe,
Yeah.
but you still have the custom and the sort of like, I'm a big fan of the black and white Stussy Air Force Ones because of the contrast.
Yeah.
But then I was able to like not do overkill of them MCM either.
Yeah.
Because I could just
I know.
done
Yeah,
all
you're right.
MCM.
You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could have just done all
I mean,
MCM,
even-
but that's been done.
It's a good
Big
splash.
Daddy King did that
That's a
before
fact.
I was ever,
That's a fact.
before I ever knew what MCM was.
That's a fact.
I like that. I like this little detail.
Love
Yeah,
that.
man. Yeah.
Love that detail.
This is
there.
a high end craft
Yeah.
custom shoe.
And this is a shoe I probably
High-end.
shouldn't wear. You can already see where it kind of bent a little,
Yeah.
but that's kind of nice.
It gives-
'cause
it
it's
gives it
amazing
character.
leather.
I'm a
Yeah.
fan of that, so
You
I
guys
don't
think I
mind
should
that.
wear them more?
Oh yeah, that's
So
what
like
it's
a
for.
wedding. See, they can't go to no concert.
No,
I can't go
no.
to. I guess I could go to a sneaker convention or something.
Go to a place
Yes, there
where
you go.
place where you can control the traffic.
Right.
You know what I mean? You can
I don't want to be
control
on
your
my
step.
feet working. I want to be like at a game where I'm kicking it.
Nah, those are fly. Even them just painting the AIR on the midsole, right?
Yeah,
There's
the
a
details.
little detail like that. It's dope. It's fly.
And this was all stuff he and I discussed every single detail.
That's fly,
And I
man.
appreciate
You did it.
artists who's willing to go into detail like that because sometimes it's the little things that matter.
Did he walk you through the process? Like, did he show you, hey, I'm going to do this and this, or did he surprise you?
No, I'm a control freak, so I pretty much
You
walked
saw
him through the process.
Okay, got it.
I think I've
Yeah.
been, he's amazing.
So you knew what was coming then.
But
You knew.
I've worked with, I've had 100 custom Air Force Ones.
Okay.
I wanted to do something different. I wanted to make sure he wanted to test his level of craftsmanship.
Okay,
and
wow.
test his limits, to a certain degree, but also stay really classic and
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
keep it easy. I designed pretty much everything. He surprised me with the Generation Cool on the back.
Okay, so that was a surprise. Okay.
And he surprised me with putting my name on. So
Oh,
those
okay.
were nice details that
That's fly.
I'm scared of that stuff, but he was able to execute that with laser printing.
I think so
Yeah.
too.
Very, very
Nah,
flawless.
he killed it. He
No,
killed
that's-
it.
that's awesome.
He killed those. man.
Simple, classic,
Yep.
but unique to you.
Yeah.
It has
True-
all
and
those.
true to me.
That's what I'm
This
saying.
is
Yeah.
a true shoe to me.
Yeah.
This is a shoe that's if I did a two-way collab with MCM and Nike, I would have done a fancier maybe version.
You're
of this.
giving Nike's some ideas right now because
I mean, they did this with Virgil,
Yeah.
Okay.
and
True.
and if they, I'm sure they were aware of the history of Air Force Ones getting customized, but they did it with that. They had that premium leather, and they did those Air Force One Louis Vuittons, and those. I mean, that's if you're talking like if you held a gun to my head and it was like an all time grail, like price is not an object. I would love a white Louis Vuitton Air Force One, all white on white with
embossed. Those are tough. Those are
that's
tough.
gorgeous.
Those are
that's a
tough.
house.
Yeah,
that's a car. I mean, that's
a
a painting. That's
I see.
That is a beautiful shoe.
It's not a child, but it's the most material version. It's not a pet. It's not something that's going to have our undying, unconditional love.
Yeah,
but it's about as close as it gets.
Yeah,
I have to pay more attention to those luxury brands. I haven't really went deep into that.
They have done some special things. Right now, Louis Vuitton is gonna come out with Timberlands and.
I saw that.
With the constructs I told you about, right? So Louis Vuitton's doing a bunch of those things. So
if you look back on my show in 2017, somebody on camera asked me what did I think was the next big thing in fashion, and I said designers finally working with mainstream sneaker companies, designers working with sports teams.
Yeah.
Those were two things that I was sort of forecasting. Look at Nike look at Gucci and the Yankees.
Yep.
That's an amazing.
That's news to me.
I love Gucci works with MLB and they make licensed Yankee stuff and it's gorgeous.
Gucci works with baseball.
Gorgeous.
They have a simple Gucci Yankee dad hat.
Gucci dad hat with the white Yankee. Oh.
Yeah.
That's all news to me, man. So I got
And so, anyways, that's stuff that I'm not saying I was some kind of genius. I'm just saying there's a history there, and I'm never ever gonna think that I invented something like this.
You just see the patterns. This
is just me doing an homage to the Dapper Dans of the world in my own way with shoes.
Yeah. Awesome.
When it comes to being innovative and unique, I think you can. There's some bounds that haven't been pushed yet. But I'm a big homage guy, and I'll pay my respects to the people who came before me.
Yep.
Who knows who was the first one to do something like this? Probably someone before Dapper Dan probably cut up a purse and glued it onto some shoes. Probably in New York,
Yeah, most likely.
But
shout out to New York.
This is like doing rap music. There's a history here. You're gonna do your own version, but don't act like this hasn't been done before.
Yeah.
No, for me, it's impressive because, like I said, I know a little bit behind it, but not so much. So when I hear you guys talk about like New York and then Dapper Dan, I'm like, this is cool. I gotta dig into more of this
culture is great, but just like anything else, it's overdone and convoluted and watered down. I could rattle off 20 amazing people from someone as mainstream as the shoe surgeon down to like, some cat in Germany who's just doing a low key secret collab with me.
Nice.
From that whole range, there's hundreds of guys that I know personally that are amazing.
Hell yeah.
Daniel Grand Customs has done some really nice sewed stuff for me too.
It's badass.
That's my next, my next pair down from this is another pair of MCM Custom Air Force Ones, guys. So like, this is kind of my thing, right?
Yeah. Keep us tuned into that because I'm curious to see what your next one's going to be about. Because
and you know what? That's cool. That's cool that you like your all time like sneaker that connects to you. I would thought it would be like a Bo Jackson or Agassi or Jordan, but it's literally a one of one.
Yeah.
Of a popular silhouette.
And also, I'll be honest, one other thing. This is an example of 3 things that I manifested in my life and 3 things that were big goals. Remember like goals movement, like goals, all relationship goals. Like these were goals. So when I was a kid, we didn't have Air Force Ones out here. I was able to find shell toes and Jordans and cool stuff.
They had Air Force Ones?
We had them, but they weren't out there, bro.
Yeah,
it was hard to find Air Force Ones out here.
Gotcha.
So in my early 20s even, I had to, scour the internet to find all white Air Force Ones.
So was it Nelly?
The movement.
Nelly did it?
Yeah, but that was all mids, right? I mean, Nelly, Nelly, of course, the low tops were popping, but right before Nelly, I was like, all white Air Force One was like a shoe that was hard to find. I had them. It was a status symbol again. It was a time of my life where I'm like, all right, got an all white Air Force One. I got an all white Yankees jersey. That style of like cleanness and having brand new socks, brand new all white shoes. So just the status symbol of the Air Force One. Always wanted MCM luggage. I remember being a grown ass man with a baby and being like, it would be cool to have the matching backpack, briefcase, and duffel bag.
Yeah.
You know, and then, you know, I would say within a year or two, I had all three of those. So
That's
these
right.
were goals,
That's
right?
right.
And then
Oh,
the
yeah.
other goal of the store, which came, and that's in order, you know. I just had my model. Then I started getting into luxury and treating myself, and I made it a little bit. Then, you know, branding and the store and my actual personality and the mark that I've left so far on the world.
Hell yeah.
You know, is Generation Cool. So that's this shoe embodies all three things.
That's
so
high.
my childhood,
Yeah.
my goals, you know, financially, or, you know, and then my goals in life as far as, like, you know, the creative things I wanted to do, you know. I guess you know what's cool is this Generation Cool logo is a rip off of MCM, obviously. So it's hot dogs and shoelaces. So fun and
All right.
style.
Yeah,
you know, the
yeah.
two things we embody at Generation Cool: fun and style. Hot dogs and shoelaces matches MCM. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
If I had to run out of my house with one pair of shoes and it was catching on fire, I think I'd have to grab these.
Oh yeah.
And
I'd send someone else in for the rest.
Bobby Hicks. That's Kickstory, man.
Oh yeah.
That's Kickstory.
What's special
Yes,
about
sir.
this is that you 10-year anniversary just happened.
Yep.
You're talking to us about your I guess elevating yourself
Sure.
and, you know, different goals that you had. So
Yeah.
this embodies everything you just said on top of, like, the 10-year anniversary. Perfect timing. This is awesome. Yeah, this is great.
Yeah,
man.
this is, you know what? I'm going to wear these. This is my 10th year. I'm going to wear these for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
Just a special
To
events, and
to
I'm going to let
celebrate
these
it.
breathe.
Control
I'm going to let
environment.
these dogs
Control
come out.
environment.
No one can
Not
step in
tonight to
those.
the hockey game.
Yeah,
No,
nah. No one can step in those because I don't know what's
Yeah,
up.
Rob,
I can't go to. I cannot go to a concert or a club with these.
Yes, sir.
Beautiful stuff, man.
Oh man, all right, man.
That's
Well,
awesome, man. Great stories. Thank you for, once again, inviting us to your shop here at Generation Cool.
Love
Once
this episode, man. Thank you, man.
Once again, we're in Tucson, Arizona. If you're visiting here, visit 4th Avenue, Generation Cool, the store.
Yep.
Great vintage stuff. You get a chance to talk to Slobby. He's here every so often. Great guy. And we're also going to have those D Browns posting as well. So
Yes,
we
sir.
look for that too. We're going to have the link to his
Wanna
website.
drop.
So let us know how we can get in contact with how to get those shoes. We're going to have Instagram, all there. So look for that.
We'll have them on the website. We'll have them on Instagram, and we'll put them on your YouTube.
Yep.
So that's 3 places where whoever first come first serve,
Oh,
basically.
yeah.
And speaking of Instagram, what's your handle? People can find
Slobby Robby, Generation Cool,
That's
right
it.
there.
So find that. You'll find you on,
Oh yeah,
find you
that's
on
it.
your
We're
Instagram and all
simple.
that.
We keep it simple over here.
Yes, sir.
That's the way to do
Kind
it.
of like
sir.
Kickstory.
Right
Yes,
on.
sir. You know what? It got to be Saran because it's a wrap.
Right on.
Oh, all right.
Thanks again.
My man.
Thanks
Appreciate
for having
you.
me. I love
Thanks for
the
tuning
combo.
in. Thanks
Enjoyed
for tuning
the
in, guys.
conversation.
Thank you very
Kickstory.
much. Kickstory.
Peace. Thank you for watching this episode of Kickstory. And don't forget to subscribe to this channel and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any episodes. And stay connected with us on Instagram and these podcast platforms listed here. We also want to hear from you. So make sure to comment below and give us your thoughts. Thanks again for your support, and we'll see you next time.